jotain ohi, niin sit löytyy sieltä.
Me yritetään lennon kanssa vastaan.
Loistavaa. Teillä on ollut pikkusen hulinaa varmaan täällä nyt yhdistymisen johdosta.
Tavanomaista juoksua.
Niin, ei se varmaan se asia sillä ihan hirveästi ole siihen meidän normihulinaan kuitenkaan. Et totta kai niin heidän kanssa paljon, meidän päämiesten kanssa paljon tehdään yhteisiä asioita, mutta niin vauhtia aika sama kuin ennenkin.
Joo.
Täysillä.
Niin, just näin. Just näin. Ja tuossa justiinsa viime viikolla tuli ihan sen takia meillä oli ne kakkua ja kaikki lusikat loppu, kun juhlistettiin tässä. Meidät listattiin tämmöiselle niin 50 parhaimman työpaikan joukkoon Suomessa.
Oikein, onneksi olkoon.
Kiitos, käytiin.
Sijoitus 13.
Kyllä.
13, se on vielä niin kuin lähellä top 10. Täydellistä. Ja mulla on pari tuttua ollut töissä täällä ja on kyllä kaikki kehuneet, että on niin melko letkeä tunnelma.
Se on kiva kuulla ja sellaisena me ollaan pyritty kyllä pitämään tämän meidän touhu ja kulttuuri ja keskinäinen yhdessäolo.
Kyllä. Ihan loistavaa. Mutta lyhyesti virsi kaunis, jos aloitellaan haastattelemaan, niin onko se sulle ok, jos sä vastaat englanniksi?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's perfect. So, how's your personal and working life background? In brief, you don't have to explain all of it, but...
In brief, I've been entrepreneur for the last 18 years. I worked outside entrepreneurship for 3 months as a summer job. And so far, I've founded or co-founded 8 companies. And a few other organizations like Internet Industry Finland and a few other small ones.
Okay. Quite impressive. To be honest.
Find time for all these activities.
How is it even possible?
Yeah, I started when I was 15.
Oh. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, but that was in brief and definitely enough information. How did you end up being an entrepreneur? Is there a particular reason? Or?
It just happened. All of the companies I have or ever have had were founded on a customer need. So the first company I founded when I was 15, it organized parties in the city I lived, and we didn't have anything for underaged. So I just needed to do something about it, and ended up founding my first company.
Okay.
So you recognize needs.
Exactly.
Party.
Yeah. Nice. When was this company established? And it was established by you and Nico?
Yeah.
Yeah, together?
Yes.
Yeah. And Nico was the surname, last name?
Lehtonen.
Okay, yeah. And it was 2007?
7.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to be sure.
Yeah. I was a CEO in one of my previous companies back then, Survey Finland. And we did e-commerce web shops, the installations, all the technical work behind the scenes. And Nico was also working there.
Okay.
And I saw the need for having aggregated payment service. Back then, every single merchant needed to sign contracts with each of the banks separately, so it cost something like a few €1,000 in just signing, and €200-300 per month in monthly fees without any sales. So we decided to solve the problem and founded the company for that. So again, really clear customer need.
Yeah, it's true. And have you been doing the coding part, or are you the sales guy and the manager guy?
I used to do some programming years ago, but Nico has always been the guy in this company to make technical things happen and the business development.
Yeah, it's nice. This is pretty obvious about your product in this company, and the main product we can all see, but is there anything else? Like newly established products or services or anything?
I think the biggest new thing, well, it's not that new anymore, year and a half old, but a Patreon account is something that is still really valid as a new product. It basically stores consumers' address details, phone numbers, credit card numbers in cloud, and enables really simple purchases from laptops, mobile devices, phones, internet TV, phone, whatever. So that the consumer never has to type address details or phone numbers to web shops again. So it's just type in your email address, we send a one-time PIN code to that consumer's phone, and by typing in that PIN code to the web shop is able to get the addresses, credit card numbers, whatever they need to complete the transaction. So it's basically Amazon one-click for every web shop.
That's makes it way faster.
Yeah, exactly, and safer.
Yeah, and how long has this service been available, or is it available?
Yes, it's available. It's been around about a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, that really makes everything a lot easier.
Yes.
From consumer point of view.
Yeah, it's true.
And that is what we believe that consumers want to pay it also in future in that kind of a shorter way
Yeah.
compared to these traditional payment methods.
Yeah. It's true. What about the revenue logic? If I understood correctly, you have a certain commission on every transaction.
Yes. We internally divide the revenue logic into 3 parts. First one is monthly fee. That is in most cases 59 euros. Then we have fixed transaction fee, which is 35 cents per transaction, except for Nordea, which is 50 cents. And
Is there a particular reason there?
the bank itself.
Okay, yeah. So it's just
Not
And,
us.
yeah, then we have, in some payment methods, we have a commission, which is usually 2% for credit cards, and in some invoicing systems it's 3%.
Okay. Yes. What about the international business environment in your industry? What I've understood, it's pretty complicated. For example, because in every country there is a different banking system. So, can you enlighten us about that?
Yes. Every single country has their own payment culture. It's just as individual as language and everything else in culture. So some countries prefer using credit cards, some countries prefer using pay on delivery, some countries prefer credit transfer from the banks, like Finland. And it's really, really different in every single country. And most of the countries already have sufficient systems for payments online, and we try to work together with those different players so that we don't necessarily compete with the local player who's already established, but rather we work together with them so that the merchants do cross-border transactions more easily.
Okay.
And there is quite interesting thing, in my opinion, in this industry, that at the same time we work together with quite a few companies, but at the same time with certain customers we compete with them. So it's not company per company situation where we compete with one and cooperate with another, but it's more customer based, that with this customer we work together, and for that customer we compete.
Okay. It's a pretty nice way of working. Is there any particular reason why did you start internationalization process? What is the initial reason? You just want to grow and that's it? Or
Yeah, that's it. We have, I don't know, 60-70% market share of all the Finnish web shops. So our goal, which is pretty much doubling the revenue each year, is not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
So we need bigger markets. That's the driver, I'd say.
And what is the next country? I assume that it's not going to be Sweden.
It's going to be Sweden.
Really?
Well, how did you guess?
How did you guess that?
But can you open that a little bit?
Yes, the nowadays parent company Nets
Mm.
has pretty strong position in all the Nordic countries, and Sweden just happens to be the country closest to us in the payments culture way. So for us, it makes most sense to start with the biggest of these kind of domestic markets for us.
Yeah. So basically, Nets open you for this company the gates to Swedish market.
Basically, yes.
Sorry if I
Yeah, of course.
intervene. So what about other markets, particularly Russian market? Because I'm from Russia, so I'm kind of interested in this. So are you do you have any activities, or are you planning, or?
Yes, Russia is really interesting market for us. We have done some activities towards Russia, and I think it has huge potential for us. Nets, on the other hand, doesn't have that strong plans towards Russia, so that a bit guides us also us. But we definitely would like to do something.
But have you done like market research, or have you identified like biggest players or structure of this payment system in Russia? Like, or are you aware of these issues, or it's still?
Yeah, we've been studying the market, I think, 3 years, and it hasn't been that active. I think we know the biggest players there, know how the market in general works. We do have Russian localizations in place in some systems we provide, so that the say Finnish merchants we have can sell to Russian consumers. So that is already available. Other than that, let's say that we don't have any active projects going on at the
So
moment.
it's not your priority market.
But we definitely like to serve those both consumers and merchants.
There's 5 million people in St. Petersburg, so there's some transactions going on all the
Yes,
time.
most definitely. It's fast growing, really big market. We know that.
Obviously.
I wanted to ask the same about France. Do you have any activity there?
I think we have quite a few merchants
Mm-hmm.
in France selling to Finnish consumers.
Okay.
Again, it's the same thing. The payments culture is a bit different.
Because we still have paychecks.
Exactly. So, and since the Net's position is strong in Nordics, that is where we're going to mostly focus. But that said, we don't have anything against having French merchants selling to Finnish consumers or Swedish consumers in the future. So that is naturally something that we are trying to enable.
Nice. Before the merge that happened with Nets, what was the internationalization strategy? Were there any?
It was more focused around pay-trail accounts, which we see as really differentiating products and suitable for most of the markets. But since the acquisition, the emphasis has been more on the Nordic markets.
Okay.
But in both cases, we still see it as a valid point having merchants across Europe selling to both Finnish or Swedish consumers, where we can provide the complete payment service.
We have this kind of question: where did you find your international partners? But obviously, right now it's nets, I assume.
Yeah, the biggest one.
Yeah. So where did you find those? They just pop out somewhere? Or?
The most important partners for us, both here in Finland and outside, are the e-commerce platform providers. So the companies who provide programming of the actual e-commerce shop, and those act as our resellers in basically everywhere. And that is just research work from our side to identify which companies actually are the most important service providers in that field, and to then partner with those. And that has been the strategy for us since the beginning, so that we partner up with those players who already have customer relationships with the merchants and can sell our services to their existing customer base.
Yeah.
And of course, other partners are those financial institutions like banks.
Yeah.
That are in our service.
Yeah.
But that goes to the establishing the service for different countries and consumers.
Yeah. Three most important foreign markets and three most important network partners in each market. Can you reveal those?
I'm so happy that you are listening.
Yeah, this is quite.
Thanks.
Yeah, this is a big question, but it's
Yes. I think I'm only able to answer you in a level saying that it's Nordics and Baltics.
Okay.
The markets, without being any more specific in which countries in those. Sweden was already mentioned, but after that, I cannot say anything.
yeah, of course.
And what about Estonia, for example?
Well, Estonia is one of the most important markets for us currently, outside Finland. Yes.
Yeah.
We have quite many. Do we know how many customers about we have from Estonia?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also big partnerships there, like Maksekeskus and.
But what's the fastest growing market, on your opinion, for your like when you start and then it's really like rapidly grow?
Which of the is it the Baltic countries or Nordic countries, or which one is the fastest growing currently?
I haven't crunched the numbers thoroughly on that, but if you look at the percentage, I am pretty sure that Baltics are growing faster. But since Baltic countries are so small, I'm not sure whether the 10% in Nordic countries is bigger than 30% in Baltic countries.
Yeah. What about the networks? What networks have been the most important for you, considering the internationalization process?
I think it would be pretty safe to say that it's the other payment service providers across Europe. And how we work, those are one of those companies that we both compete and work together with. So say a company like ADN, which is one of the fastest growing payment service providers in Europe, they don't have any own payment methods available, but instead they work as aggregating payment service provider on top of other aggregating payment service providers. So that we provide them Finnish payment methods, and they have customers anywhere across the world, basically.
Yeah, so that's pretty important.
Yes.
Yeah. Good information. How do you take care of these international cooperations? Is there any certain pattern that you follow, that you call them and send Christmas presents.
All the usual stuff.
Yeah.
Do you,
But
Send Christmas presents.
Yeah.
do you have annual meetings on regular basis or just occasionally when it's needed? Or
It really depends on the partner. With some of them we have monthly meetings, with some of them we just establish the relationship once and then that's it.
so yeah.
It really depends.
But ADN, for example, do you have monthly meetings?
I don't
Because
know.
you don't know. Okay.
We probably have.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But do you have any like deeper relationships with some of your international partners, like daily basis contact or something like that?
If needed.
If needed.
Yeah.
But not like usually daily basis. You just call them and hey, how is it going? Is everything alright? Every day.
No, that is something we don't do.
Okay.
We try not to waste time.
Yeah. That's a pretty good strategy. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
but so your relationship with corporations are built on kind of trust and oral communication and agreements, or it's like written contracts with all kind of details and
Yes,
terms?
we need to have written contracts with everyone. That is kind of a basis requirement, and that comes from actually EU legislation. And if we work together with other financial players, we need to have really strict contracts in place with them.
So this is a pretty typical way of doing business in Finland. You just make a contract and that's it, and then we follow the rules. In a nutshell. But is there any differences between international corporations, like differences, cultural differences? When you go, for example, to Estonia or Sweden, is there a huge difference, cultural gap, in this certain area of business?
I think in e-commerce, the cultural gaps are pretty small.
Okay.
I think it's the cultural difference. Well, naturally they are there, but they're not as significant as in more traditional business areas.
Okay.
Because everyone uses the same systems online anyway. Everyone is used to kind of order some SaaS service online, type in credit card, order the service. That's it. Things work nowadays online. So it's the basic environment is the same for everyone, and basically everyone does it. So it's not that different anymore.
And also, for example, there is many very common open forum platforms that are also building that kind of a business, that it isn't related to every single country that much anymore.
Yeah. And just to give you an example, there's few partners outside Finland we discuss using Facebook chat. So it's not kind of a handwritten letters sent by priority mail. It's just chat away.
Yeah. That's a really
What
handy
about
way.
LinkedIn? Do you use this platform for communication, or like just publish some news or some stuff?
What?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yes. Suvi knows better about that.
Yeah, of course, we are following there, and also if someone is willing to talk with us there, we definitely do. We want to use our social media channels to chat with our followers and other people. So, and for example, I've been getting at least 3 or 4 cooperation offer via Twitter and this kind of thing. So we use those as ways and channel to talk, and we are not that serious that what what can be said there and there and there.
Yeah, I can
We
see
just
that.
Yeah. We just want to communicate there and to
Yeah.
meet people there.
Do
Basically.
you use LinkedIn for recruiting purposes?
Yes, we have been doing also that. We are sharing our recruiting ads there, and also we have been using a bit money to get good applicants from there, and we have been doing it. Yeah, basically, besides of our own channels, LinkedIn is our most important channel to recruit.
Okay.
We are not using. Well, we have been in some cases, but basically we are not using, for example, to put some ads to newspapers on this kind of stuff. So LinkedIn is very important.
You follow trend.
Yeah, and we also try to find different groups in LinkedIn that where we believe that would be those kind of people that we want to get to work here. So we have been trying to find those and then put our message there and to raise some discussion.
Yeah. About the future, have you ever thought about going to third world countries, for example? Can you see that as a possibility or as a threat, or if you...
Have we?
What haven't we?
Yeah, no, that is good point. World domination.
That question was not on the list, but I just have to ask it because...
Yeah, there is huge number of different opportunities, but we're a small company. We have 40 people, and there's just that many things we can pursue.
Yeah.
So.
Of course.
Are you planning to expand, like to grow your?
You already
Personal,
did
your
quite a
company.
lot, but because of nets, but
Yeah, 6 months ago there was 40 people in this company, and now we have 2,500.
This is good
exponential
start.
Yeah. If we are talking about the time before nets, what was the biggest challenge in the internationalization process?
Being a small company and the different payment cultures would be definitely the biggest challenge when combined.
What about the language barriers? Can you manage to communicate in English all the time, or do you need to have people who know the language?
That is one challenge, yes, but that is, I think, one of the easiest to solve. Because in written communication, emails, Twitter, whatever, there is quite a, good services available that can solve the translation issues.
Okay.
So that we could provide in 10 languages today. It's not a problem. Localization for the payments culture, on the other hand, is really a lot more difficult issue. Because usually people are a bit hesitant to giving money to companies they don't feel safe with.
Yeah, of course. Then about the markets, what are the criteria that you use when you're selecting markets, or are you just going there because those are the closest one, or do you have any certain pattern to that when you are selecting those countries?
We haven't selected that many countries yet.
Finland was quite obvious.
Yes.
Oh, really? But you were talking about Baltic countries and Nordic countries, and
Yes, I think the biggest selection criteria is the demand.
Okay.
Just, it doesn't make any sense to try to go to a country where you need to create the demand from scratch. And it's a lot easier to go to a country where people are basically screaming that they want your service. So that is the biggest thing for us.
Yeah.
And say in Estonia, it's pretty much the case. There is a huge number of companies who want to sell to Finnish consumers.
That's really good. And we are out of questions.
I have
Oh,
one
yeah.
specific question. So I don't know when this happened. Was it last year that there was a removal of fees for payments in the SEPA zone, or a few years back? How did that help you? Like, did you notice a huge increase in your activity?
Not really. I don't think we noticed any change because the basic need for receiving money online has been there a long time, and that didn't change. Credit card payments have been around since always, and companies are willing to pay what is needed to get money.
Okay.
So
it was just something that had to happen, and just people were already used to that, so it was not.
Yeah.
By the way, have you experienced these frauds? I mean, these legal issues, like, or are you assessing risks of this kind of things in your business?
Yes, we are really serious about fraud prevention, and we are in the good position here in Finland because the bank payment system doesn't have any fraud. It's one of the most secure payment systems in the world, and yes, we have been pushing fraud prevention quite heavily for credit card payments, different other payment methods, but for bank transfers it's basically non-existent. Yeah. And actually we've been quite successful in fraud prevention. We catch roughly double the amount of fraud than the partners we work with. So we are pretty good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good thing for the whole nation, of course. Yes, do you guys have anything else to add? It was pretty thorough interview,
Very interesting.
and thank you for you.
This was nice.
That will be really helpful.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. Now we got really deep inside information too, or not so inside, but really good information.
Yeah,
Thanks for that.
thank you, Lenno, that you came, because I didn't actually know that the questions were so much from international perspective.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm very glad. If I would have known, I would also ask Lenno, but now this was very good coincidence now.
Yeah, true that. We actually have an additional interview to do, and it's about merges, or the yeah, and it's due around April. So would it be possible to interview you again a little bit more deepen, or was this the information that you are willing to give?
It really depends on the question of what type of information are you looking for.
We don't need any numbers. We just need a little bit
What
more
is
about what, sorry. But we don't need a lot of numbers, but a little bit of those and about the process itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did it happen? What kind of contracts did you make? How long that it took? You can
Yeah.
say no.
I think there is quite a lot of information that can be shared. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's possible.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nice one.
You just made our lives a lot easier.
And maybe it could help if, for example, you could send to Lenno those questions
Beforehand.
beforehand.
Yeah,
So
sure, totally.
then we could say that this we can say, or
No,
yeah.
Yeah. That would be awesome. Yeah, but hey,
Thank you.
thank you
Thank you.
Yeah.
a lot.
Yes,
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you. It was nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we are really happy.
Thank you. It
Thank
was
you.
nice to meet you. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nyt kaikki menee täällä hienosti ja ei mitään suurempia huolia murheita tullut vielä tuosta yhdistymisestä vai?
Oikeastaan päinvastoin, että monelle on tullut hyvinkin niin positiivisena yllätyksenä ehkä, että miten tämmöinen enemmänkin niin kuin yhteisön tekemisen ja yhteistyön niin kuin kulttuuri tästä on heti startista lähtien